That's how much sequel because I was looking at some function. And he reminded me something that the city had said, which was they had trouble planning them. There's railroad tracks. Oh, okay. And it's like, well, just dig out the 4 foot and 4 foot of the railroad tracks with some more trees. So,
Okay,
but FYI,
okay, oh, remember, maybe that's why there aren't any trees there now.
there's a few here and there.
Don't talk about on Washington.
Yeah, there's 4 medians and only a very few trees.
Okay, all right. We just.
I think it's kind of a BS.
Okay,
All right, bye, guys. Bye.
Yeah.
okay, don't worry about it.
That particular video, something else they can read about.
Okay, welcome, everybody. Let me get our documents ready.
Yeah.
You guys can talk.
Okay.
So anyway, there's that, then there's like.
How big of an area do you know? Like, does it have to be? Is it just a block or 2 blocks?
Well, I think you have to have the business owners commit to it.
Yeah.
To have that, so it
Yeah,
depends on
that's-
many.
So yeah, I guess that's how many business blocks do you need? 1 business block, like just this block?
You talking about the BIC?
Yeah,
It's however many businesses.
this is like along
West- like I know
Jefferson.
Westwood has a bid and it's like the, center of Westwood.
Yeah.
It's like all
Yeah,
businesses.
because I know West Adams has a bid too. They just like created one not too long ago.
And you sent me
I
the,
sent you the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
so.
So that's from like Hauser to La Cienega.
Jeff, it's just like a group of businesses that.
Yeah.
have agreed to.
But they do have to agree.
Yeah, but
And they have to pay
like all the businesses have to pay it, right? But
once it becomes a BID, I think that they are then required to pay whatever the fee is, and that's why didn't someone mention they didn't want to do the barber shop, didn't want to do it because they don't have any money? Didn't that come up in your minutes?
Someone said that maybe they don't wanna do it, they have no money, and I was like, that's true.
that's
I was
true.
like, but
Yes,
there was
I
a big,
understand.
the other bid.
Yeah, my question is like, how long, like, what is the minimum requirement? Does it have to be? Okay, that was.
It's small.
It could be.
It's all the way to the 110.
Yeah, I know that could be long, but I wanna know how small they can, because not everybody wants to do it.
But why would, if I were a business, why would I just do it with 2 blocks?
Yeah,
If there are a lot of,
businesses on long.
okay,
For all the upkeep and or the upgrades and everybody benefits from it. So.
all right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and get started. So welcome, everybody. Sharing the agenda. Thank you very much, Siobhan, for jumping over. Want to welcome and call the meeting to order, take general public comments, go over some of the data from the tree survey that was conducted for Washington Boulevard, talk about some information that came out from UFB, and then talk a little bit about some of the master greening and how it connects to the revitalization project and trees, how that can all work together. Are there, why don't we all introduce ourselves? I'm Teresa Masonette. I'm the chair of the tree committee.
I'm Cesar Garcia. I am a UNNC board member and chair for the Rec and Parks committee. And
I'm Rabia Khan, I'm chair for the Economic Development Committee and UNNC member.
I'm Sinmin Lee, I'm a stakeholder, Jefferson Park.
Right, are there any general public comments?
not for me.
All right, so I'm gonna stop the share and because Caesar took so long.
I know. I was trying to cut more down.
I'm going to pull up. Let's see this. Share it. So one of the goals that we discussed in the committee about a year ago was, I did it directly from the Google Drive. Was to do, to remove the, as part of a bigger economic development project and just getting rid of blight and everything, the cages on Washington Boulevard were installed as a beautification project by Nate Holden. This is 20 years or more ago. And since then, many of the trees have died, and urban forestry will not plant any new trees in the cages. So the goal is to remove all of the cages, and in doing so, we said, let's just go out and find out how many cages we have. Let's see how many dead trees. In 2022, urban forestry did do a survey of the entire neighborhood council, so they did identify some the trees there. But since then, AYCC and some other people have planted trees, more trees have died, and the cages look really bad. So the South LA Tree Coalition, which I'm a part of, decided to do a survey of the trees. And the goal was to do it from Crenshaw to Normandy, which is the full length of the neighborhood council, but we only got to Western. So the second part, something happened and I was unable to do the analysis on the data. So it will be, we're going to continue. But so far what we found is that there were, you know what, I'm going to see if I can use, no, let me see if I can just download this to our folder. So I can manipulate it a little bit better.
And the goal is to remove all of the cages or only the cages that have dead trees?
Well, it would be, let me stop the share. It would be great to remove all of the dead cage, I mean, all of the cages, because they're rusted and they're not very attractive.
Mhm.
But let me just give me 1 second so I can download this.
You missed it, no, go back.
Oh, sorry. What?
We're right next to the printer, we're 125.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I have a.
Yeah, I get
I mean,
nervous
like,
too.
yeah.
I get nervous too, and I'm here, I'm like, where are the little things?
I don't have my flash drive. But I did want to say, Caesar, if you, I save, I set up a folder for every meeting on this computer.
Yeah.
So, so let me close this and then now let me open it. Minimize that. Close that.
I can get it, yeah.
Now let me share. So, let's see. Okay, so from Crenshaw to Western, there were 197 locations surveyed. 88 of the trees are in cages. Of those, 25 were dead or dying. 55 of them are without cages. Some of them are healthy, just to be quite honest. Some of them are healthy. There were some trees that were not in cages that are dead or dying. We noted 2 stumps. So this is the data we have. So because the council district owns the cages, we have to request, and we've done that, requested them to remove the cages. They also have to be recycled. So street services, there has to be coordination between street services, who would cut them, and LA sanitation to collect them and recycle them. So for us, by deciding to do this survey in segments, street services could say, okay, we're just gonna get all the empty cages first. Or they might say, we just wanna do from Crenshaw to Arlington. But by providing all the data, they can decide how they want to go about removing it. Because it may be like on a Saturday, they just come down, get all the, just close off and just work down and get all of the empty cages. So in the end, we have about, these are the kind of things that stand out. We have 44 empty tree wells. And this, now remember, this is just from Crenshaw to Washington. It doesn't go all the way to Normandy. So that number is probably gonna increase. So if we talk about, part of our master green plan, and somebody wants to do some tree planting, we can say, well, we know we have 44 sites right off that need, planting. The dead trees, that's gonna require UFD to come in and cut them and then remove the stumps. Maybe they can do it at the same time. So it just requires a little bit of forethought, but by having the master green plan, having this information, we can say, this is what we would like. We want everything cleared away first, and then we're gonna come in with our planting partner, or we wanna just do it in steps. So, any questions about that?
I'm sorry, is this just on Washington or is it, okay,
The tree committee last year said we're just gonna do Washington. So,
A question. I also noticed though that now I see cages and dead trees and I'm like, oh, we gotta free them. But I also noticed that the metal grate is also cutting into the barks and like killing. Is that not part of part of the cage as well? No, that metal grate in the bottom.
yes, that is part of it.
Okay, so everything, including that metal.
Yeah, because the cages were put in place with cement and this other metal structure, the whole thing is a structure. So all of that has to be, yes, and this was, it was a beautification project, they were like, oh, it's gonna be so nice, but they didn't really understand what was the long-term
The future of the thing, yeah. Okay, one more thing I need to just if we're gonna use the master greening plan as like a way, I feel like, do we need to be more detailed? Cause I feel like people kind of like, well, we need trees here and the tree kind of cover the whole block. Do we need to put we're missing 10 trees between 6 and 9, do we need to make sure we go put 6 shade trees there? Or is this just kind of a guide? Yeah, people wanted trees here in this area, we should put as many as we can.
Yes, but there's probably gonna be some empty sites available that are already identified.
Okay, so that was my kind of clarifying, because it's like, oh, they only put 1 shade tree, so they just put 1, okay.
No, I think maybe that person said, oh, this is my house, so I want it.
Yeah.
But if we decide to do those blocks, let's say 31st, 32nd, go all the way down, then we would identify all of the empty tree wells or the valuable sites, and then we just do.
So maximize the amount of trees wherever the people wanted trees, like there's 1 tree, but it's like maximize the amount.
Yeah, I mean.
I think there's only one well.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying, like, in the master greening plan, there's only 1 tree, but there might be 3 wells. So we should be able to put 3.
Yes, and also, not here, but I did one of there's several of us doing this, but the one that I did, and that's because I know how to do it, other people volunteer, so but I did identify areas that I thought we could put a potential tree well. So just like 6th Avenue, there weren't any tree wells there. There were a couple on that one side. So when we did that grant, we said, oh, we need to cut some tree wells. So LACN, we're partnered with LACC, and we went out and we walked and we identified where we could put tree wells. Because they have to be 30 feet from the street and 20 feet from a light post, and there are a lot of other things. But USC recently did a study that showed that you can put trees closer together. So I think when we start doing this, we can refer to that. And that's when I did my section, I said, oh, you know what? Look, we can put a tree here. And then some of them were actually, somebody poured concrete on them or something, somebody covered it up. So, and part of as we move through, when we talk to business owners, we need to explain to them the importance of having trees. There were a couple of stumps, and I think somebody just off because they want their signage shown. We also have seen South LA Trees did a white paper on billboards that like signage around mini marts, the little things, and big billboards. People just come in and they just cut them off. So there's a lot of work that we can do on that. Any other?
Great, thank you.
this data is really great.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many trees there are, and dead trees. And
Washington Boulevard is very big, but now I walk down there, and I'm like, oh, I see everything now. I see the wells, and I see the cages and like the trees, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like no one really like, has been looking out for them, you know? We don't have cages on Jefferson Boulevard, but we have those grates on the ground that cut into the
base of the trunk of the
and
tree.
kill them, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
So this is something that part of all of this,
Yeah.
our tree effort is dealing with some of the bad infrastructure choices that were made previously. So I want to share this next, so the next agenda item I have is about urban forestry, and I don't know if you guys know, but the city has a community forest advisory committee. It advises the mayor and city council on tree things, and I represent CD10. And recently they UFD, who last year lost 45 positions through budget cuts, shared with the committee I have to go back and down. Sometimes there's so many things here, it's hard to. This document is also in the Google Drive. So focus a lot on South LA.
Are you gonna share it?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It's like juggling.
It is, it's like kind of like breakfast.
So I focus a lot on South LA. So the information that came in was for all of Los Angeles, but I just whittled it down to CD 8, 9, and 10. So a lot of people plant trees. Tree people, KYCC, Northeast Trees, a lot of nonprofits.
Gorilla peoples.
Yeah. And that causes problems because over time that messes up the sidewalk, and trip and fall, and somebody sues the city, it's a mess. But urban forestry also plants trees. And best practice is 5 years of watering and maintenance. And that's normally what they do. But because of budget cuts, they had to reduce it to 3 years, which was the old policy. So they knew that they would not be meeting the best practice. So they let CFAC know that they were only were only doing 3 years of watering and maintenance. They would not be able to do years 4 and 5. And then they presented all of the trees, which were
That have died?
no, that did not receive, will not receive years 4 and 5 of watering.
My gosh.
Yeah, I mean, this is just CD 8, 9, and 10. Hold on.
And how many gallons do they pour in every time they water a tree, like when they put out?
I'll tell you in just a second.
Okay.
So, on this list, and these are the trees that were planted in the past few years by urban forestry. For CD 10, there are 272 trees. Now, there are none in our council, in our neighborhood council. I'm just sharing this to show you that there are a lot of trees, like this is like a lot of Lamar Park. And you know, they made an effort, an equity effort to, you know, plant trees, and now they are unable to meet the 5 years of watering, which is the establishment period. So some of these trees may die, which is crazy because they made all this effort to do this. So there are some organizations that may
Pick it up.
yeah, you do a grant or something to give to KYCC or some other organizations to come out and do the watering for the last 2 years. My organization might provide that. But I show this to you because just in CD 10, there are 272 trees planted by urban forestry that will not get the years 4 and 5 of establishment care. And
Do we know the odds of the tree dying and not dying? Like, because they're pretty much established, no, they've been there for how?
well, the best practice is 5 years.
Right.
And that it used to be 3 years, but now we know that 3 years is, especially as climate is changing, that they need, and a lot of these trees are not native trees, and that's another issue. And that's something I think, Caesar, for you, when we talk about what kind of trees we want to plant, do we want to plant native trees? once they're established, they can make it, but they are very difficult to grow in smaller tree wells.
Yeah.
So we
It's
have to.
just like biosoils need to come into place,
Yeah.
all this other stuff.
Yeah, and the city is gonna be really, it's resistant, it's not gonna give you an oak tree in a small
Mhm.
site. Even if you planted it, over time, it's gonna lift, the roots are gonna lift up the sidewalk, and then that's possible lawsuit, so. So I just wanted to share that, just so you guys know that there are thousands of trees that were planted by urban forestry that.
Yeah.
Years 4 or 5 will not
Okay,
get water.
thanks for
So,
sharing, yeah.
and I think some other people are gonna try to, you know, in other neighborhood councils, there and people on CFAC, there's one member for each of the council districts. They're gonna go back and see the neighborhood council, especially in the valley where it gets really hot. I mean, we get heat hot here too. So just wanted to share that. Siobhan, anybody have any questions?
So we're gonna get a water team together to water our trees, or is
Well,
that something that we should start planning, like in terms of like outreach and education? And because I talked to people in Jefferson, they didn't even know that. They're like, are we responsible for the tree? Because their trees are dying. And I'm like, well, it wouldn't hurt if you watered it. And I live in next to a problematic property, and they've had a broken pipe that has been spewing water into the sewer, and it's like a $40,000 runaway bill. And I'm like, okay, if it's gonna run away into the sewer, can you just open all the tap and water the street trees? So I have the swatters there, just open the tap, and because they're gonna open it for themselves. I'm like, but people don't know that they're allowed to take care of the trees.
but really they're not.
They're not?
Yeah, no, all the street trees, the street trees belong to the city.
Oh, this is okay, well.
If it's a private property tree,
Yeah.
private property,
No, it's in the parkway.
yeah, the parkway, we have,
The
the city
parkway
has
is also-
700,000 trees, and they belong to the city.
Okay, so people shouldn't then try to water them.
The example I'll use is 21st Street. So you just did a planting there. Those trees need to be established, so there's a contract, there's a grant to pay for watering. I went by, a couple of them don't look that great, so. LA Sand, we know who the partner is, but we gotta say, hey, you need to give them more watering. When that's so hard to explain, but okay, so I have 2 trees that were, when I moved into my house. I got them through, I went online, City Plants, which is having a problem now with funding, but we're hoping their Public Works funds them. You could get 2 trees, so I got 2 trees. The partner that came out said I had to sign a commitment to water. I'm making that commitment to water, which required 15 gallons a week. So we got the Home Depot bucket, and we put 3 of them on each tree, that's 15 gallons. So those trees are great now. That I had to make that commitment for 3 years. And many people get free trees who don't do it. Now, those trees are really tall, but they belong to the city. But the city cannot, the pruning and trimming of the trees is on a 17-year cycle, and it's really bad. It's supposed to be 5 to 7 years. So you plant your tree, the city's not gonna come back, they inspect it when it goes in. They won't come back until your kid's in high school. So we're working on, that's a lot of people working on that. So
These are the trees in the parkway.
in the parkway. So yeah, so I say no, they shouldn't water, but yes, they should water. Because if it's a new tree, certainly, but if it's been there for a long time, the tree should have been established by now that it doesn't need, so I don't need
So
water.
now on the boulevard though, that's a difference. They should not be touching those trees.
But legally, they belong to the city. You can go to 311, you can say, hey, I have a dead tree, hey, I have a broken branch. I need somebody to come out and prune my tree. That is the process.
Okay.
But when is it a new tree? I mean, I don't know, how old the tree is.
No, these are dying trees, but the people I was talking to, they were like, should we be taking care of the trees?
But why are they, how do you know they're dying? What is it?
They're dead. I mean, it's like, this one in particular was just, it looked like it was an offshoot to a branch that had been girdled by the metal. So it was already dead, but then when I was talking about it, they were like, oh, well, should we be watering them? Or they didn't seem to have any notion that it was like, that they had some sort of ownership or some sort of you know, like any kind of control or any kind of relationship with this tree, whereas Connie, who had moved from Sixth, she was on a separate block, but she looked back on the block that she used to be on, the Saki Liquor, she was like, look at how beautiful my trees are. Because she felt like they got together and they put in like little raised things and put mulch on there, and these trees look beautiful. They're, you know, by the half day, and she's like, those are my trees still, you know, but the tree that is with her now
That's
is
stuff,
dead. It
yeah.
fell on. She's like, I don't want another tree here.
Well,
Okay,
so, you know, it's a, yeah.
definitely learning experience.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I'm sorry.
right.
All right, so anyway, so after we finish up Washington, the goal was to go to Jefferson and do the same thing, and that way we can say, okay, on Jefferson, we found that we have 50 empty tree wells, we have 20 dead trees. Where does that fall in the master plan? And let's get a partner to come in and do that. So that's.
I'm sorry.
So that's really all. Oh, no, the last agenda item was to discuss the greening and the economic developments for Jefferson Boulevard. So
I did see, are we talking about the plan that you sent?
Yes, oh, maybe, yeah,
okay, I'm not talking about that.
okay, she's not talking about.
Yeah,
Other plan.
no, it's a a big plan. I'd like to talk about
Yeah,
the revitalization. You guys think you're gonna try to do a BID for Jefferson Boulevard?
I don't know right now, like right now. The committee is still sort of forming, and there was Ed brought in the proposal to do neighborhood cleanup. So that is taking a little bit of, you know,
Okay.
of the resources there, and for the bid, I think that we need to figure out what the bid would do and then go do outreach to all the businesses. And I think we need to like see what they want as well, but that's why I want to go to the other bid, see what they're doing. So like it's just gonna be a longer process, but I'm here and like seeing your committee, how it's working, and I don't know if like the bid is the priority right now. It might be that more cleanup is priority overall, you know, for like stuff, but.
Can I invite you to the Tuesday 10 a.m. walk and talk, as it
Yeah,
would be, yeah,
As depending on my work schedule.
yeah, of course, because I think like, yeah, that kind of falls in with like talking about how that part of the boulevard feels like, and like what we can do to make it.
I think that like cleanup would extend to that, you know,
Yeah.
and like I think overall, like even in my neighborhood, there's like a lot of cleanup talk because of institution and the trash and all of that. So there's like this cleanup thing that's maybe more
Okay, I mean,
than a bid right now.
so I think at the environmental committee, they were talking about doing a cleanup, so. I mean, that would, on Washington, the council district did one, and we cleaned out the tree wells, and cleaned out, you know. There were a whole bunch of people, but all kind of blight.
Right.
But I was focusing on the tree wells, so maybe if that's part of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna, the tree wells or something.
Yeah, I think, yeah, can like, how can, like, I guess the environmental committee has been talking about it,
Yeah,
like,
yes.
can we like establish a day maybe in like
I say go to talk to Ally and say, hey, we wanna do a cleanup,
okay,
because that way they can bring the brooms, the gloves, and all of
the
this stuff.
trash cans.
And that has to be coordinated with LA Sam, because they show up, with the big bags, and as we fill up the bags, they have a crew that comes by and picks up stuff, so it's a little bit of coordination that has to happen, but. You know, how do you guys wanna do it, so, go ahead.
well, I'm just trying to be proactive and also just learning the tools of like just. You know, so I've just been taking photos of all the trees and noticing that there are some places where there are banana trees planted now, so I'm like, okay, these are places where people are growing their crops and their food trees and stuff like that, so
Is that on Jefferson?
that's on Jefferson.
Yeah.
So there's a stretch of it, but the other thing is that a lot of these are big blocks of property, and I think that they're slated toward development. And another concern that the like Japanese Senior Center brought up is that there might be construction moving forward, and that no one's gonna want, you know, certain things like trees there because they might have to dig them back up or something, or that might stop their development. Or
Well,
so that's why I'm noticing there's a lot of places where the trees are dying and being just left as stumps. And so that's gonna be something that I think is maybe.
Yeah, I see. So is the question about the bid and like Jefferson
Just the
Boulevard revitalizing, and I think trees do have a big impact on how people feel coming to a business. If there's just like, you know, a dead stump and like a bunch of trash, like you don't want to go in there, like.
And you want it to be walkable, and when there's shade, it is walkable,
Yeah.
which reminds me that that's one of the things we need to talk, is shade a priority? Because if it is, then that's gonna determine what type of trees. And I know you mentioned something about the peak trumpet,
Yeah,
but in neighborhood identity, those kind of things, I think can be important. But if shade is a priority, then we're gonna focus on trees that are gonna give us shade.
but what I've heard or from other people or observed is that sometimes the shaded areas are occupied by the homes. So there's this one giant bay tree.
Oh yeah, I love that tree, by the
That's a
way.
beautiful porch, like
yeah.
almost halfway across the street.
Yeah.
And that's by the auto shop,
Mhm.
there is a bus station there, but there's a lot of other homeless people there, and I know these people.
And if we had more shade, they would go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, but we,
Yes.
So this is a big part of that revitalization.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
so.
Okay.
It's a bigger.
Bigger picture.
Yeah, we're right. Oh,
Okay. Sorry, no, because I really just had an idea and I really want to share. So there's this thing in September that's supposed to be like, you know, worldwide, where you create a park, but it's not you create a park on a parking spot in the street. Because you know, cars take so much space and all this thing. So this is like kind of like an environmental movement where you make a car like space and you put a tree and a bench and you move it, like has four wheels so it can be like a car, and then you park it in the street and then people can enjoy it for like at
The
least
second most contentious thing I hear on the boulevard.
it's parking. I know. And then just imagine you put enough of those and then people would be mad about not being able to park, of course. But then how many people would be very happy to sit in a bench with a tree and like, you know, hang.
Well, I will tell you, we did a study, Central Lake Coalition did a study with USC, and that's, this was for Central Alameda, it wasn't another part of Central. And parking, even though people, and this is a highly immigrant community, they love trees, they grew up with trees, but they will not give up a parking space for a tree. So they.
Yeah, and I guess that's where it comes to that idea of like create a car park.
Yeah. So would this be a temp?
Yeah, it's a temporary. It has wheels, so you kind of just move it out of the way once the day's over. But it kind of, you know, opens up the idea of like, oh, it doesn't have to just be a parking spot, it could be much more.
We've talked about doing these bump outs that come out and take up the parking space. Not a full parking space, and putting in a tree that will give us a large canopy. People, you know, they'd rather sit in the hot sun, walk to the market in the hot sun than give up a parking space.
Yeah.
So it's just something for us to.
And that's what it's called, car brained. I mean,
Yeah.
like identified. Like we gotta figure something
Well,
out.
that's what the transformative, when we're doing this transformative grant,
Yeah.
we're transforming, not
Yeah.
just planting some trees, but the whole infrastructure,
Right.
and the way people perceive trees and heat and walking and everything.
Being healthy, because yeah, thank you for hearing out the idea. And now I really don't want to end the meeting. I was like. Keep on talking about.
On that note, I was thinking planting it right in the middle of the street.
That's a median. Let's make a median.
Make a median.
Make a median.
And like, okay, if you don't want a tree by your storefront, then if you want cars parked there, let them park on the sidewalk by your store, but then let's put the trees in the middle.
There you go. Let's bring it up. Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, so this is the discussion we can continue as we, you know, move forward and we get greater ideas and more solidification on green plan and what we're gonna do, stuff like that.
I love it. I love the conversation. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. But I have to go.
Siobhan,
I got 2 kids. We have to go to bed. Sorry.
you can.
Yes.
You have to leave. Siobhan, would you have any comments or would you like to put your 2 cents in?
Well, I meant to put my 2 cents in about the 21st Street trees. I don't know if it would be helpful. you know, the KYCC has been around to do the watering on those trees. And the residents have really, I have to commend them. They've really taken ownership of the trees. They feel attached to them. We went through a lot to get them, and they're worried about them. And looking at them, you're right. They look a little peaked. The residents are pretty sure that there isn't enough watering going on. I mean, they see the KYCC truck going around. It's not that they're not watering them. It's just that they feel like, given how warm it's been and the trees themselves, it's just not enough. So certainly, knowing that a lot of those tree projects have now gone to 3 years of watering, that would give me pause about putting any trees in, because if the city isn't willing to support them for that full 5-year period, then what?
Well, that list was just for the trees that urban forestry is
Yeah.
planting. So not
Right.
for the belief in equity grant.
Mhm.
But I took a picture of one that was without leaves. I don't think it's dead, but it certainly does not have any leaves. And the one directly next to it is when I saw one of the neighbors that had the hose watering it. So
Mhm.
I was going to send that to Amy and say, hey, this is what happens. And I personally, I like KYCC and Northeast tree people, but when they're planting 500 trees, 750 trees, it's not like they have love for trees, the individual trees. They're just doing their
Right.
job. And
Yep.
I think what we need to do with our nonprofit tree planting partners is to get them to love the trees, not just see it as a damn job. So
Mhm.
I'm just going to send that to Amy and point out to her, here's what's happening. And I saw the gator bags that are there.
Mhm.
But KYCC is one who, when they come to plant in front of your house, they have you sign that document, the commitment to water, and that's 15 gallons a week. So that's what they should be doing. And I know it's a 33-week contract. I don't give a shit about, I don't care about October, November, December. We're talking about now, and it should be 15 gallons at least on every single one of those trees every single week. So I just I took those pictures yesterday, so I'm gonna send something out to Amy.
And we would agree with you. We're reasonably certain, just looking at the trees, it's not enough. And yeah, the residents feel ownership of them. So when they have a hose that can stretch over there, they've been stretching it over and watering them because they don't want poor things to die. So that is a concern. And certainly we suffer from those tiny little tree wells. So you can see in action what's going on over there. If you have any questions about what happens in those little I mean, this is the second tree planting we've had in them. The first set died. So,
yes. So this might be, I'm going to put it on the agenda for next, I wasn't going to have another meeting until August. But to maybe ask UNNC to provide some funding for tree watering, additional tree watering or something. And I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough yet, but maybe contract with somebody else to provide additional watering or something. I don't know, but I do think that they need more than they're getting. So
yeah. And certainly we will put our heads together with the 21st Street neighbors, because they're there, right? Like they're there, and they feel a certain amount of ownership of them. So maybe this is something that, what Western Heights Neighborhood Association would want to take up. We can certainly discuss that at our next meeting. I think our next one is July. So I'll certainly bring it up since I helped put together those agendas.
So I guess I'm confused though, that you're saying that we shouldn't have like a outreach and education for people to maybe water those trees because they might not water them right, or is.
Well, those trees, we're talking about 21st Street.
But in general.
Well.
No,
and in this case, they have a grant. Those things they're
paid for.
They're paid for, and they should be, so we just need to make sure that they're being, not that they're not following the grant, but that it may not be sufficient, I don't know, but that's a separate thing. When new trees, it depends on the age of the trees, and then, so if it's been there for 5 years, if you grab one of these trees, they don't need any water, they're already established. So.
But the ones that look like they're struggling.
Yeah, I don't, are they struggling or are they dying? How about
I don't think any of us is enough of a tree expert to know if they're struggling or dying. They just have dropped a lot of leaves.
I can look at a tree and see the age of the tree, and I can go back and find out when it was planted. And I can also look and see what species of tree it is to see if it's what state it's in.
I think it's more of a policy, way, or more of a outreach, or can we use that as, because like my proposal with the pink trees was that it was kind of a marketing thing as well, to get people to care about the way their neighborhood looks. And I turned a lot of people who were like, no, I don't want a tree, into, okay, I might like that kind of a thing, so it was kind of a conversation piece, and it made people more aware that it could be something that would be an asset. So, but as educational, like, outreach to people in general about watering trees, is that something that might be a,
Well, I'm in a difficult position because if I as a CFAC rep, I have to say what the policy is, and the policy is that it is the city's responsibility. But maybe those trees are part of a grant. There were some trees 6 years ago. UNNC, there was a nonprofit called Cal Greenworks that came to UNNC and said, we want to plant some trees on Washington Boulevard. And we gave them, I don't know, $6,000 to plant trees for 3 years. And something happened with that nonprofit. I don't know what happened. So we said we're going to funnel the money into a foundation to help supplement them or something. I can't remember all the logistics on that. But I mean, I need to know which trees you're talking about. I need, so much information you need.
I guess I'm kind of more approaching it from the public outreach and like a educational program that gets people wanting to, steward. I know it's problematic with environmental when you have a keystone species or some sort of, woodsy owl, and then all of a sudden no one wants to, cut down certain trees, and then there's a huge fight over old growth, and it becomes problematic. But, I'm just wondering, is there something that, we could do with, because it seems like a lot of the trees on Jefferson Boulevard are just parched and they're dying from lack of water. I don't know if there's anyone going through.
I mean, maybe we should table this conversation, we can get some answers for you.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when we do the survey, you said you had some pictures and some other information.
Yes.
If you want to share it with us,
Okay.
Then I can take a look at it and share it with the committee, and then we can talk about.
Wonderful, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, identify what we could do on that. So, yeah. Okay. I think everybody's like 8 o'clock, it's time to go. Anything else, Siobhan? Anything from caller, in last digit 724?
Not from me, thanks.
Nothing from 724.
Okay.
Who's that?
All right.
Okay. All right. So